What's going on, people, and welcome to Man Knows Football. You're here with Guni and you are here with Younes. Matisse is supposed to be joining us, but he is truly living up to his tag as Mr. Lateness is greatness. So we gotta respect that. He has stayed with that energy and he has proven that he is that man. So big up Matisse. Surely you'll see him at some point in this stream. But before we do get onto the content, obviously make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. Also, both Younes and Matisse's socials are down there in the description. So if you haven't followed already, please do so. But Younes, thank you again for jumping back onto Man Knows Football. How are you doing, my friend?
No problem, G. I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, Matisse, lateness is greatness, standards. Obviously, I know that very well. It happens all the time. He'll never be on time ever, so don't expect it. But yeah, he'll jump on. But I've been well, man. I've been well. It's not been great for Chelsea, but we've gotten away with it. We've gotten away with it with results going our way. So you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, true. We did get away with it, but it was still difficult to see that performance, man.
Yeah.
To lose in that manner and to a deflected goal. I mean, it could be worse. Like you said, it could be worse. When you look at it, like in terms of context, it's like you said before we recorded. It's very early into the season.
Yeah.
It's the current reigning champions of England, and we only lost 1-0 to a deflected goal. If you want to look at it that way, it's still a very long season and we've got winnable games coming up. So I trust the manager. I'm not too worried. So obviously, as they say, we've only got to deal with what's in front of us. And what is in front of us is a massive challenge in Turin. Juventus versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
Younes, how do you feel going into this game?
I'm confident. I don't want to say that too much now because I said that before City. But yeah, I'm confident. I reckon we'll bounce back. I reckon there's a sense of urgency now. I think Thomas Tuchel would have learned a thing or two from the City game. But not just that. Juventus are not on form. Juventus are struggling. And I don't mean just because they're winning by a close margin. Like the last game, I think they won 3-2. But as over the course of a season, they've just been struggling and they haven't got into second gear. So, pressure's high, stakes are high for Juventus. This will be one of the hardest games of the group. They have to get a result at home. So, you know what? For us, go out there, do our thing. Hopefully, we bounce back and we should get a win, I reckon.
No, I agree. It's not going to be easy by any means because the dangers with a team like Juventus is that they've got so much quality in that squad, and we've also got to respect that Allegri is still a decent manager despite the slow start. That they can click into gear at any point, so we still have to be very much wary of that. I feel pretty confident going into this game. Would I change much? From Manchester City, definitely. I'd go back to the original formation. Yeah, 100%. We'll go with the yeah, we're gonna go with the pivot, just to be safe.
we got a little carried away. So
yeah, we did. We saw some promising things towards the end of Chelsea Aston Villa, and we thought we could do that against the champions.
Or Tottenham when we used it against Tottenham.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think we're going to show Juve a little bit more respect. I think Tuchel has learned his lesson. He comes across to me as a fast learner. Every manager makes their mistakes, and I think we're going to prove that. I think we're going to get back on track. Honestly, I'm not going to really change too much in terms of the back five or the back three, however you want to call it. It will still be Rudiger for me. It will still be Christensen for me. And I would stick Thiago Silva in there. Because the way he's playing, it wouldn't make any sense to put anyone else in there. He's just been majestic, to say the least. In terms of wing backs, Younes, who are you going with this game?
We don't have a choice on the right hand side now. I feel because Reece James is going to be out. Tuchel's confirmed that, so Reece James is out. Mason Mount is out. Kante is out. In terms of team selection, I think that's made things a little easier. On the right-hand side, I would stick Hudson-Odoi to start off with. We saw the way that Aspie, I don't want to say struggled, but Grealish had his number on the weekend. So
Yes.
that when you're playing against Juventus with a decent setup on their wings, I'd rather Hudson-Odoi and then Aspi in defense. On the left-hand side, you know what? I would stick with Alonso.
You trust Alonso?
I trust him, yeah. And I think a lot of people are going to say, "No, throw Chilwell in." But after let's say one bad game, because it was a bad game, but let's say one bad game, out of all the games we've played this season so far, about 7 or 8, I'm not just going to drop him and throw him away because of one performance. I think that he still has a lot to offer. And on our day, he's always, under Tuchel, one of the best players on the pitch. So in a game where I think it would be very charismatic for us to go and score, very possible for us to go and score and win convincingly against a Juventus side that are looking a little shaky, play Alonso. Now, if he disappoints against Juve, then we can consider Chilwell for the next Premier League game. But for me, I'd start Alonso, wing back.
With Juve, one of the issues that we had against Manchester City was the fact that our fullbacks was just pinned back for pretty much most of the game. We can't afford to do that against Juve. Now, I respect that we're going away from home in Europe against Juventus, who are still a top quality team. So I'm going to brace myself for an element of defensive football. But in terms of going forward and taking opportunities, we can't do what we did against Manchester City. Now, my concern with Marcos Alonso is on that side is Federico Chiesa, who we know, who we saw in the Euros. In terms of what he's done for Juve so far this season, I don't want to say too much because I ain't watched too much of him. And then behind him is Juan Cuadrado. So my concern there is if Alonso gets burnt for pace, that might be a little devastating because we saw that he struggled a little bit against Manchester City. Granted, it was one game, and I am not a fan of knee-jerk reactions either. But from a tactical perspective, I would be more tempted to start Ben Chilwell this game, to be honest with you.
To be honest, whoever starts, I'm not fussed. Again, this goes back to our original point last time we spoke. Whoever Tuchel goes with, I'm cool. Because I trust Thomas Tuchel completely.
Yeah.
If he feels like, you know what, Chilwell needs to start this game, cool. We ride with Chilwell. Not a problem. If he feels like it's Alonso, cool. I'm happy with that. So at the end of the day, if it is Ben Chilwell, I'm still confident because Ben Chilwell is a top player too. He's just been unfortunate with the form that Alonso was on. That's basically it.
So let's move to the midfield pivot. N'Golo Kante has been confirmed with COVID, so he will not obviously be featuring tomorrow in the game. That is a big loss, but I do trust Kovacic to deputize. That's what I'm going to guess he's going to throw in there. Kovacic hasn't really put a foot in wrong. I don't even think he had a bad performance against Manchester City, to tell you the truth. I don't think he was terrible. So I don't mind him deputizing that. And then obviously Jorginho being his partner there.
Yep.
I don't really need to say too much about Georgie. He's just he's been fantastic this season, but he's coming up again. We're coming up against a decent midfield. Bentancur is not a bad player. Locatelli is not a bad player. So but these guys, these names, like I said, I'm not really too intimidated by them. I'm still confident going into this game. I'm confident coming out with a win, but I've just got to look at each player for player, and I've just got to be fair in the analysis as well with Juve. Although I do think those two in that pivot, because of the way obviously our defense is set up as well, is more than enough, because there is an element of protection from that back three for Jorginho as well. So do you agree with that pivot?
Completely. Jorginho Kovacic is what we need to go with. Especially with no Kante. Sal will be the guy to go to in case we have to bring someone off the bench. But I trust Jorginho Kovacic. Again, this is the sort of situation we spoke about. So if it's not going to be Kante, you got Jorginho Kovacic, you know you're sorted. If it's not going to be Kovacic, you've got Jorginho Kante, you know you're sorted. If it's not going to be Jorginho, you got Kante Kovacic. It's whatever combo we go with under Thomas Tuchel, it's worked. So Jorginho Kovacic, I'm more than comfortable with. And to be honest, with the names you mentioned in midfield, I think they'll have the better of them completely, especially with the form Kovacic was in. But at least prior to the City game, you said it yourself. I don't think he had a bad game either. I think Jorginho in an Italian surrounding, an Italian environment, I think he's going to thrive. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Jorginho is going to perform over there because I think it's going to suit him completely in terms of Juventus, playing against a Juventus or playing against any Italian opposition. So yeah, I'm more than confident with that double pivot.
Now, obviously, ahead of them, this should be a relatively smooth conversation, but just given
Very
the form,
smooth. Yeah.
just given, I'm just, is there, before we get onto the front three, there's been a lot of concern and premature concern that, oh, Chelsea are not scoring goals. You know, Lukaku is a flat track bully and this, that, and the third. Do you agree with that? I already know your answer, but like, do you agree with that to any extent?
No.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
It's very, very, very premature. And I think it's people still being stuck in the mindset of last season.
Yeah.
Where at the end of the day, it's been, 7 games? So, like, nah. Like, trust. And you know what? This game against Juventus, Lukaku's going to have I think a very, very happy day. I think he's going to find himself at home because he's just come from Italy. He's just come from there. He was thriving in Serie A. He knows exactly what this Juventus team's about. And as long as you're giving the ball to him, he's going to be at home. He is going to be at home. So, you know what? We'll wait and see tomorrow because I think it's going to go well.
Who do you put either side of him?
We ain't got much of a choice here because Pulisic's out, Mason Mount's out. If we're using Hudson-Odoi as a right wing back, then we've got Werner and Havertz. Job done. Werner on his left-hand side and Havertz on his right-hand side. Or obviously both of them tucked in. Maybe they'll rotate in between themselves and, formulate during a game, move about because that three can move anywhere. But I think it's pretty straightforward.
I think Juventus are going to try and isolate the forwards the way similar to how Manchester City did by keeping that gap in between the midfield and the attack.
At the same time, if Juventus are going to even try and do that, they need to keep the ball. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they have what it takes to keep the ball. Not as well as Man City did, nowhere near. And as I've said right now, Juventus in Serie A are all over the place.
They're struggling.
They've won, I think they've won 2, drawn 2, lost to 10th place. They've been playing like Spurs. So, I don't think they're even going to control the possession on the day, especially Allegri, because he's not that sort of guy. So I think we'll be all right, even offensively. Even in terms of our lads finding space, I think they'll find space.
Do you think them losing Cristiano Ronaldo is a contribution to their form? Do you think that big character in the dressing room has just left a gaping hole?
Yeah, I think maybe not necessarily in terms of on the pitch, tactically, because you still got a team there. But the dressing room, the winner's mentality, that clutching something out of the depths of, when you're struggling, having a presence like a Ronaldo who attracts attention. Ronaldo, despite his age, brings goals, even if Juventus don't win. I mean, look at United. Like, they're not exactly, smashing it right now, but Ronaldo just gets goals. Regardless if you win, draw, lose, he's going to score. So, that's always a help. So, yeah, in some areas, absolutely they miss him and they didn't replace him. And in some areas, they should be able to manage, but they're not. So,
I'm looking at Juventus's possible lineup, and I'm just looking at the centre back pairing of Bonucci and De Ligt. Both very good centre backs. Obviously, Bonucci being the more senior one had a very, very good Euros. But it's like you said, I think he's going to be in for a nightmare because however Juventus decide to play, I think Lukaku is going to be very much suited to it. Because if they're going to drop deep and you're asking Lukaku to hold off the ball, he's going to hold off 2 of them at the same time. It don't make no difference to him. You get me? Yeah. But my concern, if he's doing that, is Timo's got to take his chances, bro. And do you trust him to do that?
Hopefully. We can only say hopefully, bro. Fingers crossed, because he scored against Villa. Even in the Man City game, he wasn't bad. It was just a case of the hold-up play in general wasn't that good. Getting
Yeah,
the ball to our forwards, we didn't seem to do that a lot of the time.
yeah,
If we did, maybe we would have opened him up a bit more. But I reckon, especially I think with Kai Havertz on the pitch, I think that's going to be the key here for both Lukaku and for Werner to open up some space for himself, because Havertz is someone you can't leave by himself either. So that should do us justice. That should, fingers crossed. And yeah, even Juventus as a team collectively, they're going to be missing. Well, we know him very well, but I don't know if it's a loss. Morata's not playing, so I don't know if Juventus are going to be happy or sad with that. And Dybala's not going to be playing either.
yeah. That's a big miss for them.
Are they going to sit back? Are they going to contain? Are they going to attack without those men on the pitch? I don't know.
I think it'll be dangerous for them to do so, to just look to contain and quote unquote play for the draw, which they very well might do. You don't know. But I think they'll be playing right into our hands if they do that, because we've proved time and time again now, the low blocks, we can figure out how to break them down. It's just we got to take our chances, and obviously Lukaku being there just gives us that extra bit of confidence.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a score prediction going into this game, or do you not want to jinx it?
No, you know what? Jinxing would have been a problem last season, but I think this season I'm doing all right. Except for the last game, but let's just move past that. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say 2-1. 2-1 Chelsea.
I think it's gonna be a narrow victory.
Yeah, cagey.
I think we'll go back to a clean sheet again, and I'm gonna say 1-0 Chelsea. Yeah, I'm gonna say 1-0 Chelsea.
I want to say a clean sheet too. You never know. Away from home, I don't know.
Yeah, against Juve as well. It's an optimistic prediction. Listen, I'm not jumping out of the window and screaming it's gonna happen. I'm just giving a little prediction here. People in the comments.
Plus, remember, this is the Champions League. Even if we switch it, Juventus are coming up against Chelsea, European champions, defending champs. Like they're going to be intimidated.
Yeah,
sure, at least a little bit. So there is that factor to bear in mind as well.
They're going to have that. Yeah, they're going to have that in the back of their minds.
Yeah.
Did you catch the Tuchel press conference earlier?
Not in terms of the whole thing. I saw a couple of quotes, but I haven't watched it.
I have to ask this question. Where do they get the journalists from who asked those questions? Because it was absolutely ridiculous.
I read some of the things that were asked, and I know predominantly that press conference was more about vaccination than it was about Juventus versus Chelsea.
Exactly my point.
Mate, I don't understand where these journalists come from, man. And even during a normal Premier League weekend, let alone Champions League, a Premier League weekend, some of the questions that are asked are always just pointless. And I always find there's always maybe one or two. I know Olivia Bazaglo, who's at Premier League TV, she always asks questions that Chelsea fans are always asking online, on Twitter. Yeah. She interacts and she's like, okay, I'm going to try and find out what the fans want to know. And it's always a great question. Alison Bender, another one. She always asks good questions. But some of the other people that jump on, man, they just are like, what's your favorite food? Or flipping, and they're like today, like, are you vaccinated? Like, what?
But do you know what? I've got to respect how Tuchel responded, because he's like, look, at the end in black and white, he's basically saying, at the end of the day, like, I've said it once and I've said it twice already. I am a football coach. Why do I need to put my face out there to pretend like I know the ins and outs of this thing? I know enough basics for me. He said himself, I know enough for myself to take it, right? And he encourages people to do the same. And I thought that was a very, very respectable answer, because he could have just told the line and just said, yeah, everybody go out there and get your vaccines and so and so forth. But I love how he handled that question.
He left it to how it should be and how it's always been up until this point, which is everyone's got a personal choice. It's up to you. No one should even try and find, did this player get it? Did this player not get it? That's none of your business.
No,
You get it if
exactly.
you want to, cool. You don't get it if you don't want to, cool. Done.
Yeah, exactly. That's how
Yeah, and
that's really
Tuchel
how.
responded perfectly. He responded exactly like that. So I'm happy. I'm happy he did.
Yeah, that's really how they should have kept it. But no, Mr. Lateness is greatness. We've come to like pretty much the end of the interview, man. But yeah, swear down, yeah, like. But I'm sure.
He did say an Uber was redirecting him all over the gaff. So we'll wait
Yeah,
and see.
yeah. To be fair on Matisse, he did say that he was caught in some traffic. So I know for a fact this isn't. He's not doing this on purpose. He's not being sensationally late to prove any kind of point. He's genuinely in some traffic. So, but when he's ready, I might just record another video with him and just get his views on the up and coming game tomorrow. So, I guess that's what we're gonna do. So whoever's watching, just stay tuned for that. Should go out after this video here. But Younes, I appreciate you joining the channel again. Hopefully our results come true tomorrow. Get me
Fingers crossed.
Chelsea. Yep, Chelsea win tomorrow. Get back to winning ways. Hopefully we get a clean sheet as well, man. Fingers crossed for that.
I hope so. It'd be a
Yeah.
perfect chance to bounce back, at least just to forget that City result. So
Yep, that's it. That's it. I'm confident we will anyway. But to everybody that's watching, thank you very much for joining in. And like before you go, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. Also, Eunice's details down there in the description. Make sure you give those a click or clickable links. And Matisse as well, his socials will be down there. And like I said before, watch out for another video with me and Matisse. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever time it is. Be safe. Bless.